Everyone is searching for something, searching for love, acceptance, and to be appreciated. And sometimes they find this in a group of like-minded people. But when things turn horrific, who's to blame? Hello, my miracles, and welcome to another episode of Coffee and Crime. This October will be the month of cults, and today I will be speaking about Jonestown. So grab your coffee and let's talk some crime. We've all heard about Jim Jones. We've read the books or watched the documentaries. This is one of the most shocking and horrific crimes in the world, and this is one of the crimes that have stuck with me. Jim Jones created a place for people to start over in their lives. And at first, it was paradise. But that one man who created that paradise destroyed it in one day. One man decided it was right to murder his entire congregation. I wonder what it was like on that day to know that you had no way out. Either take the poison or be shot and killed. To watch your family and friends die right in front of you and know that your fate is the same as theirs. I started out researching and writing everything I could about Jim Jones. How he started People's Temple, what it stood for, how he started out, probably with good intentions, to bring everyone of all walks of life together to worship God. But when was the precise moment it changed? Jim Jones was increasingly paranoid, taking drugs and abusing the people who looked to him for guidance and leadership. So the question is, where and when did it go wrong? Jonestown began in the fall of 1973, when Jim and members of the People's Temple, founded in 1955, made plans to escape from the United States in the event of a government raid. The group decided on Guyana. Jim would travel there to find a suitable location. By the summer of 1974, land and supplies were purchased in Guyana, and in December of that same year, the first group arrived to start operating the commune that would become Jonestown. For a time, Jonestown would thrive. Members would work in the fields, hold school for the children, and look to Jim Jones for leadership and guidance. But almost from the very start, members who had survived stated of terrible housing conditions, being worked for hours, and Jim's hours-long sermons. And on November 15, 1978, Congressman Ryan, an ABC camera crew, reporters from several newspapers, and some of the relatives of the People's Temple members arrived in Georgetown, Guyana. This was due to the fact that some of the relatives reported allegations of human rights abuses. 2 days later, on November 17th, they traveled by airplane to Port Kaituma, then were transported to Jonestown. That same evening, Jim hosted a musical reception for the group in the pavilion at Jonestown. It seemed everyone was happy and loved living there. However, it was reported that Jim had run rehearsals on how to convince the visitors that everyone was happy and in good spirits. This facade was broken when a note written by a member was passed to NBC reporter Don Harris. That note was meant for Congressman Leo Ryan. The note read, "Dear Congressman, Vernon Gosney and Monica Bagby, please help us get out of Jonestown." Something changed in the air, and the group was aware that something was very, very wrong. After a sleepless night, and in the early morning of November 18th, 11 Temple members sensed danger and walked out of Jonestown. That afternoon, as the group was touring Jonestown, families and some individuals stepped forward and asked to leave Jonestown with the group. Jim Jones knew this was the end of his paradise. Congressman Ryan's group and Temple members began to load up in a large dump truck to be taken to the Port Kaituma airstrip. Leo Ryan and another from the group stayed behind to take care of any additional members who wanted to leave. After the dump truck departed, suddenly a Temple member grabbed the congressman and wielded a knife. The congressman was not hurt. However, he knew he had to leave. Hearing about the incident, the dump truck stopped and waited for Congressman Ryan to climb aboard and go with them. Originally, a 19-passenger plane was available to the original group, but with so many Temple members leaving with them, the U.S. Embassy arranged for a second plane, a 6-passenger Cessna. When the group arrived at the airstrip between 4:30 and 4:45 p.m., the two planes were not there. The group had to wait. Around 5:10 p.m., both planes arrived and the group started boarding. When the Cessna was loaded up, it taxied to the end of the airstrip. A Temple member named Larry Layton pulled out a handgun and started shooting. He wounded 2 members and tried to kill Dale Parks, who disarmed the firearm after it misfired. Meanwhile, the Twin Otter was being loaded as a tractor with a trailer attached drove onto the airstrip. They approached the group and within 30 feet opened fire. It was reported that at least 9 shooters began attacking the group. Jim had instructed Larry Layton and the gunman to leave no one alive. The first few seconds were captured on videotape by NBC cameraman Bob Brown, who was killed. 4 others were killed, including Congressman Leo Ryan. 9 were injured. After the shootings, the pilot of the Cessna, along with the others in the plane, took off towards Georgetown. The Twin Otter and the injured were left behind to just wait for help to come. Back at Jonestown, Jim's wife, Marceline, made a broadcast on the speaker system, assuring everyone and asking the members to return to their homes. While making this announcement, aides were preparing a large metal tub filled with grape flavor aid. It was filled with multiple poisons, including cyanide. 30 minutes later, Jim Jones made an announcement of his own, calling every member to the pavilion. Jim urged everyone to commit revolutionary unaliving. He spoke of the congressman's murder and that others would arrive to take them and their children away from Jonestown. While Jim was speaking, armed guards surrounded the pavilion. The Temple members had 2 choices: die by poison or die by gun. Members who survived described the horror of watching their friends and family die in a painful and tragic way. The poison caused death within 5 minutes for children, less for babies, and an estimated 20 to 30 minutes for adults. Jim Jones was heard saying, "Die with a degree of dignity. Lay down your life with dignity. Don't lay down your life with tears and agony." He had promised it would be quick. To the very end, he was a liar and an evil man. Towards the end, the guards themselves came forward and took the poison, but Jim Jones didn't. He died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, his head cushioned by a pillow. The injured left at the airstrip were eventually rescued, and the others who escaped into the woods were found unharmed yet shaken. Jonestown started out as a place of paradise and freedom, but one man destroyed that paradise and murdered hundreds of people. Questions all of us have asked about this tragedy. How could all of those people not have realized who Jim Jones really was? Were they brainwashed? Why did they follow Jim Jones to Guyana? Why did they believe in him so much? I can't answer any of those questions. The only thing I can say is that people yearn for love, hope, and acceptance. And imagine being surrounded by people who do that for you. And then imagine leaving them because of one man. Would you leave your mother or daughter or best friend behind? Or would you want to be with them because you love them? I don't blame the victims in this heinous crime. They were just trying to live a good and peaceful life. Jim Jones was the one who decided it was better to kill his entire congregation than to just leave Jonestown. This crime was senseless and heartbreaking. I hope you enjoyed this first episode of Coffee and Crime Month of Cults. If you did, hit that like button. And if you're not a miracle and want to be, hit that subscribe button and watch a miracle happen. I'm Miracle Girl for Coffee and Crime. I'll see you next time.